Here inside of my project, I have a single article model that has one content entry. Inside of my project settings, if I head to the environment section, I can see a list of all of my environments. I can currently see here that I have the master environment and we have the endpoint to that environment as well. It's within here I can clone my environment, and I may want to clone the environment for a new feature that I'm working on. So let's call this dev feature, and then we can see we have a endpoint alias. So I could just call this dev feature or give it a custom name. And then we can see here that that custom name reflects the URL to the environment. I can opt to give a description that may help anybody else working with the project to understand what this environment is for. And I can choose to clone content and webhooks when I create the new environment. Now, cloning your environment may take a few seconds depending on how many content entries and models and webhooks you have. Once you've cloned the environment, it's important to switch to that environment from the environment switcher on the left. So below your project icon or text, you can choose to select the dev feature environment. And now we are on that environment, we can then head on into the schema and we can add some new fields. You can also make any other changes to your schema, and this is localized to the current dev feature environment. So if you added a new model and added any additional fields, preview or URLs, or anything else to do with your schema, this is scoped to the dev feature environment. If I switch back to the master environment and load the schema for the article, you'll notice I do not have that new field. If I switch back, you'll see I do, and I have the page model as well. During development, it is also nice to make any requests to that environment. And inside of the graphical interface here, we can see that we can make a request to get the ID, and also we can get that new field. We can change inside of the API playground which environment we are querying or creating any mutations towards from the drop-down at the top. So if we switch to the master environment, you'll now see that this new field does not exist on type article. But if I switch back to the custom name, this is the alias we give for the environment variable, you can see that we have the new field for our article. And in the same way we created a model for our pages, you can see that we are able to query that endpoint as well. And all of these work with any custom stages you have or locales. You're able to filter and customize any of this during the API playground, and also view the automatically generated documentation for each of your environment schemas. Now if we head to some content and we edit this content and we add some content to the new field and we save and publish, this has then been published, and during development you can work with any new changes and any new data. So inside of this new page, I could create a new page. I don't have any fields here, but if I did and I saved and published, I can then make a query during development working with my new page model. Once you're happy that all of this can go into production, it's a case of moving over to your environments list and promoting the specific environment to master. Now what we're doing here is we are promoting the new dev feature environment to become the lead or the master environment. So we'll need to give a name for the previous master, and we'll rename this to old master. So if we promote dev feature to become master, then if we head on back, we can see we've automatically been switched to the master environment. And if we head to the schema, you can now see article has title and new field, and we have that new page model. If I switch to content, you can see my content still exists, and the content that we populated for new field was also fetched. For more granular control over promoting and working with environments, I suggest having a look at the Management SDK. This allows you to programmatically make changes to your schema when any code merges, and you can run these automations inside of a CI/CD process, so all of this happens at the deploy and merge time.